A reading from the book of the prophet Zephaniah. The word of the Lord which was addressed to Zephaniah, son of Cushi, son of Gedaliah, son of Amariah, son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, son of Ammon, king of Judah. The day of the Lord. For Judah, prelude, judgment on all creation. I shall sweep away everything off the face of the earth, declares the Lord. I shall sweep away humans and animals, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea. I shall topple the wicked and wipe all people off the face of the earth, declares the Lord. Against worship of alien gods, I shall raise my hand against Judah and against all who live in Jerusalem. And from this place I will wipe out all remnant of Baal, the very name of his priests, and those who prostrate themselves on the roofs before the array of heaven, and those who prostrate themselves before the Lord, but swear by Milcom, and those who have turned their back on the Lord, who do not seek the Lord and do not consult him. Silence before Lord God, for the day of the Lord is near. The Lord has prepared a sacrifice. He has consecrated his guests. On the day of the Lord's sacrifice, I shall punish the courtiers, the royal princes, and all who dress in foreign attire. On that day, I shall punish all who leap over the threshold and fill the temple of their lords with violence and deceit. Against the merchants of Jerusalem, on that day, declares the Lord, uproar will be heard from the fish gate, wailing from the new quarter, and a great crash from the hills. Wail, you who live in the mortar, for it is all over with the merchants. All who weigh out silver have been wiped out. When that time comes, I shall search Jerusalem by lamplight and punish the men stagnating over the remains of their wine, who say in their hearts, the Lord does nothing either good or bad. See, their wealth will be looted and their houses laid in ruins. They will build houses but not live in them. They will plant vineyards but not drink their wine. The day of the Lord. The great day of the Lord is near, and coming with great speed. How bitter the sound of the day of the Lord, the day when the warrior shouts his war cry. That day will be a day of retribution, a day of distress and tribulation, a day of ruin and of devastation, a day of darkness and gloom, a day of cloud and thick fog, a day of trumpet blast and battle cry against fortified town and high corner tower. I shall bring such distress on humanity that they will walk like the blind because they have sinned against the Lord. Their blood will be poured out like dust, and their corpses like dung. Nor will their silver or gold be able to save them. On the day of the Lord's wrath, by the fire of his jealousy, the whole earth will be consumed. For he will destroy, yes, annihilate everyone living on earth. The word of the Lord. A reading from the book of the prophet Zephaniah, chapter 2. A call to conversion. Gather together, nations without shame, before you are dispersed like chaff, which disappears in a day. before the Lord's burning wrath overtakes you, before the day of the Lord's wrath overtakes you. Seek the Lord, all you humble of the earth, who obey his commands. Seek righteousness, seek humility. You may perhaps find shelter on the day of the Lord's wrath. Against the nations, enemies to the west, the Philistines. For Gaza will be abandoned and Ashkelon reduced to ruins. Ashdod will be cleared out in the broad daylight and Ekron uprooted. Woe to those who live on the seacoast, to the nation of the Kerethites. This is the word of the Lord against you. I shall subdue you, Canaan, land of the Philistines. I shall destroy you till no inhabitants are left. The seacoast will be reduced to pasture land, to grazing grounds for shepherds, and to sheepfolds. And the seacoast will belong to the remnant of the house of Judah. There they shall pasture their flocks, resting at night in the houses of Ashkelon. For when the Lord their God has punished them, he will restore their fortunes. Enemies to the east, Moab and Ammon. I have heard the taunt of Moab and the insults of the Ammonites as they taunted my people and boasted of their own domains. For this, as I live, declares the Lord Sabaoth, God of Israel, Moab will become like Sodom, and the Ammonites like Gomorrah, a realm of nettles, a heap of salt, a desolation forever. The remnant of my people will plunder them. The survivors of my nation will possess their heritage. This will be the price of their pride for having taunted and boasted over the people of the Lord Sabaoth. The Lord will show them his majesty, for he will scatter all the gods of the earth, and they shall bow down to him, each from its own place. All the islands of the nations, enemy to the south, Ethiopia. You Ethiopians too shall be run through by my sword. Enemy to the north, Assyria. He will raise his hand against the north and bring Assyria down in ruins. He will make Nineveh a waste as dry as a desert. Flocks will rest inside there, and all the wild animals, pelican and porcupine, will lodge on her pillars. The owl will hoot at the window, and the raven croak on the doorstep. For the cedar work will be torn down. Such will be the city once living happy and carefree, and thinking to itself, there is no other like me. What a desolation it has become! A ruin, a lair for wild beasts, and anyone who passes by will hiss and throw up their hands. The word of the Lord.